ItsTeneca. Thank you for joining me on this yet another conscious rant. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Whoa, wait a minute. Think I lost my consciousness in the sixth dimension. But I'm here right now. Just sitting on a cloud, oh wow, I'm here right now. I'm supposed to be taking the basement. So how do you know when a cycle is like when you're completing it? Or how can you tell that you're coming through it? Or for anyone that I can help, I can tell you how I'm coming through it. I can't say that I've come through like all of my lessons and my cycles. I mean, I'm coming through. But one of the things that kind of helps me is just it's a deep sense of empathy for me, for myself first, and like to really understand my actions and my reactions, and if I'm trying to really close it out, like I have to see things from all sides, where it pertains to my job, where it pertains to me and my children, and just different relationships that I have, ex-husbands, ex-friends, even my mother and father, you know, and my siblings. Like we have different cycles. Like we're never gonna be like broken up. That's never gonna happen. But there are different aspects of a relationship that can evolve, that can change. And so it's like when I consider, and I don't always consider, but when I do, which apparently is often. It's not all the time, but it's, you know, it's often just that retrospection. It's just me checking. It's kind of like when you get home and you make sure that the house is secure. You know, if you're walking through the house and you hear water running, but you didn't leave water running. Or, you know, make sure the doors are all locked. Make sure the windows are all locked. Just to see it and check it for yourself every now and then. That's kind of how I do in my life. Like, I find myself, when I talk about my childhood as often as I do, like for me, my life has been very traumatic. My life. It doesn't mean that nothing good ever happened, or that I didn't have a good time, or that I don't have a good time ever. Or that that positive things don't happen. Man, people have given me cars. They've offered me homes. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to take that shit out. But I consider, like, if I can isolate it to a specific situation, and if there's a hiatus between me and a person, you know, me and a friend, or me and a lover, or me and my children stay breaking up with me, okay? They be like, okay, mom. And then they might not say I love you before we hang up or something like that. But then they come back, I'll be like, I don't care what the issue is, whatever we talking about. Like, I'm never going to forget where you actually come from. That your matter is made of my matter. It's made because of my matter. There's nothing that you can ever say to me that's going to make me let you go or push you out. That's for all of my children. They know. They know, the 3 biological that I have, and the ones that are not. They don't have the same blood in their veins as me, but they know. Hand is shaking. Don't! Okay? And they think that sometimes. But anyway, whenever I just catch those relationships and the people the people on the other side of them, if we've just been having a hard time, I'll look at a situation. I'll assess it. Like, am I being fair? Like, if I won't necessarily say cause the distance, but I allow the distance. I look up and I see, you're not calling me, or we're not talking as much. Well, that's not necessarily abnormal, because we're all adults and we're all living our own lives and having our own human experience here. And so, we're not going to always be tethered to the phone to the same people. Okay? But I'm just saying, so if I look up and I haven't spoken to someone, or not that I haven't spoken, but that we haven't spoken in so many weeks or so many months, some people in so many years, then I'll think back, well, what was our last interaction? I'm like, oh, I remember so-and-so used to make this really good dish. Like, I love eating that. Or I remember when I used to go, to the flea market with so-and-so, or whatever memory that comes to me that causes me to think of a person, okay, whatever triggers that. Like, I miss you if I just saw you 2 days ago, depending on how intense our interaction was, like how long we stood in a bookstore or talked at Auntie so-and-so's house, whatever, I consider that. Where our relationship was the last time we connected. Like, how was our interaction? How were we as a unit? And sometimes I'll be like, the last time they were just yelling over some basketball game that was playing that I didn't know anything about, and and your family, you were talking about your family had some land somewhere. Everyone can say that if somebody's talking about some land somewhere. Everybody actually just don't know it. But I'm like, yeah, I hope she or he is doing okay. And then sometimes I'd be like, why haven't we talked in so long? Like, the last time we went to the zoo and blah, blah, blah. I ain't been to the zoo since I was a little girl. So I don't want anyone to, if people always think that I'm talking about them, I'm not talking about anyone as, like, specifically. Like, if people don't realize, like, a lot of the experiences, they mimic and they repeat, they deja vu in other relationships, just in little ways. So you can kind of see yourself through some situations. Like the example in a math book, you might forget how to divide, just before we go all the way back there, for the kiddos that are listening. That's why I try not to cuss so much, not as much, because sometimes children will tune in. Children being people that are they woke up a little later than me. They may be a little bit younger than me spiritually. I'm still rubbing my eyes, waking up. I remember when that started to happen, like I'm so obedient. And I remember calling someone, I was like, yo, real talk, I think you're like my twin flame, like my soulmate. Like, I think that we're supposed to be together. So if you really are on the rocks, if you and her really are over, and you know that you're over, what's up? You know what I mean? Like, I remember that. And just little things like when I felt like taking the trip to a place where I let my compass take me. And then when I got there, I didn't know what was gonna happen. I ended up offering to buy a homeless gentleman dinner. He chose IHOP, so we went to IHOP. and he like he certainly had this sense of entitlement, like I was supposed to be doing what I was doing, and I was like, it's a test. I was like, it's a test. He was like, yeah, I need to use your phone. Like, come on, just give me the phone. Like, I was just like, I don't want to just think that I just got myself gamed. I was like, because I wasn't looking for him. I was sitting here. He approached me. He said he was hungry, and I didn't feel a threat. I didn't feel threatened. I know how unwise that is now. Looking back, I was in some situations, y'all. It's way too trusting. Way too trusting. Everyone doesn't live by that golden rule. But anyway. Why does it seem like the bullies are like they're in a place where they're protected? It's like there's such a culture for enabling bullies, for people to negatively impact others, and then that penalizes the innocent for even having the audacity to defend themselves. When was the last time you went back to the elementary school that you came up in, or the middle school you came up in, the college campus that you graduated from? When was the last time you actually took a stroll down memory lane? If you had that uncle's house that you used to go over, or that aunt's house, or your cousin's house that you used to go over and do things. I mean, if you're still doing it, that's not the kind of thing I'm talking about. I'm not talking about something that you're still doing like right now. Like, we never stopped. But that's not what I'm talking about then. If you've ever been to the library, there's some people that, I guess, we become adults and we just stop going to the library unless most everyone has a printer and a computer at home now. I don't. So, but also just like being at the library. You know, there was a point where I used to love reading books. I did. It's like when I think back to all of the things that I was passionate about, when people applied too much pressure for me to perform, and they somehow expected me to perform not just my best, but better than everybody else. And I was like, well, now I'm not reading because I want to read. If every time I look up, you know, you're shoving stuff in my face. And then I kept having to write sentences. I will not talk in class. I will not talk in class. I will not talk in class. I just started to hate reading. And like, if I must read, it will be something that I have written. It's what I want. Like, I mean, if I read whatever I want to read, I'm not going to read because you give me 8 books and tell me that I have a week to read 8 books. Or, 2 weeks to read 8 books. And the same for basketball. I used to love playing basketball. But it's like the aggression that I would get from adults. It's just like, I like this, but I don't like it enough to fight with you about it. You can have it. Because there are things that I enjoy that you can't penetrate. I just release it. I let it go. And so now I know that I'm rediscovering. I'm dusting off that lens, because now I want to see the pages filled with other people's creative thoughts and ideas, because I know how beautiful my mind is, and my mind is sitting in the living room is sitting in the living room writing just in my journal, where there are people that they have created legacy wealth with theirs. I haven't even gotten started, okay? So it's like I'm certain I can take a note from them. I'm certain that I can truly honor them and honor the art, the artistic expression. The artistic expression. Why are you letting the car idle? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that again? Car is idling. Oh my God! You're letting the car idle. Turn the shit off. Turn it 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 off. I'm turning it off. No matter where I go, I see the same. It's a conscious rant. If this is a sheet of paper, I got a whole bunch of stuff scribbled. Some of it's diagonal over here, some of it's over here, and some of it's upside down. It's all in there though. I know exactly where all of it is, most of it. Every now and then I'll look up and there's like an entire oasis in there, and I'm like, where'd that come from? It's like, did I put that there? How'd that get there? And I just start digging around in it and reading it. It's like, have you ever, like, if you consider, like, when you want to rearrange the furniture in the living room, when you rearrange the furniture, and it makes the room feel brand new, but you will have not necessarily added a whole lot of new things. These are things that you've been having. You're just rearranging it and reacquainting yourself with it and getting used to seeing it. Like, that makes it feel new, you know, because you put it somewhere else. Okay, this is a conscious rant. Thank you for joining me. I'm gonna keep this one short. Okay, thanks. Bye. So I've been hopping all over the map lately, and when I consider like what state that I want to like live in, it's like when you look at the futuristic maps of what the world is predicted to look like in the next 50 years, 200 years. Ironically, the plain states will be not like immaculately preserved, but they'll, you know, it'll all be a string of islands later. But the Bible Belt, like a lot of that's still gonna be intact. So I actually didn't want to go too far from that. I don't own any land, and I want to own land. I've been thinking about that. Right now, looking at myself, I'm thinking about the episode on Big Mouth. And I don't save your judgment. Save all of your judgment, okay? But the episode where the little black girl, and I think it's only one, I forget her name. This has been so long since I watched it. But she got high for the first time at the table, and she came back to the table thinking that no one would know, and her eyes were like red as hell. Like, my eyes are not red, but I'm just saying, looking at myself right now, that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, I enjoy chewing gum, and like, it's a part of it used to be like a rebellious thing. Like, I was very rebellious in that way, because the women in my family, you do not chew gum, especially the way I chew it. I'm definitely the heifer, okay? You know, what do they call it? Grazing like a cow. I was forbidden from having and indulging with gum. But I really enjoy it. I enjoy it, and I don't care how it looks. I will say, I've looked at myself. I've observed myself chewing gum, and I do not like how it looks. I'm like, ugh. Like, you should wear a mask when you eat gum. But I smack it. Smack it, okay? I guess that's so, like, I love it. I love smacking the gum. Not in front of anyone, really, except for the family. Okay, so that means I do it in front of everyone. So I guess I smack gum. I guess I'm one of those. So I smack gum. Okay, I'll own it. My mother was still here, and I couldn't have it in her presence. If she came around that corner and I had gum in my mouth, man, when she was here, I remember the way that my mother and her siblings honored her. People would come over, and this was like a business, man. You had to be shown in, and you stay at the door. I don't care how many years you knew her before I was born. You stay at the door, and we go up there and announce you to grandmother, and she would let us know, okay. I mean, she mostly would always come down, but I remember she was just so classy. I remember her and people from our church, her sisters, actually having tea in her dining room, having tea and coffee on the front porch, and sharing real quality time baking things for each other. And they would talk, my grandmother, like I heard so many beautiful conversations. And that's kind of what has taught me how to be, how to take people, how to understand. And that's what I think is missing when I consider the bullies, when I consider some of the things like this more recently that I've been talking about. And I am very passionate about those things. It's like the bigger part of me that I keep expressing, like it's hard for me to stay mad, to get mad and stay mad when I know that you didn't have what so many others did have, that you don't know better than to behave like that. You don't know that there's another way. And like even something as simple like for young people, like when they're breaking up, or older people too, because I mean we get older, we still act up too, you know, just because you're older, you know, we're all kids in it all, really. When people don't know that, like when the relationship is over, whether it's at work or in your intimate romantic situations or your platonic friendships, you and your besties, you and your homies, that when the moment that you see something that is just not in alignment with where you want to be, if people don't know to use that as an emotional muscle, like it's not just, it has more potential than what we actually utilize it for, in the ways that we utilize it. But the moment that you know that this job isn't the job for you, that you don't have to sabotage it or stand by idly and allow it to be sabotaged either, but that you can speak your piece and part ways with it and do it in a peaceful way. Like I've never had an explosive breakup. I didn't quite know how to do it when I was in like middle school and high school, you know. It was like, I don't even know how to say what I'm trying to say, but I can't be with you. I didn't even know how to say. I was like, am I supposed to say all of why I don't want to be with him? Why I can't be with him right now? Because I'm consumed with my parents potentially getting into it. And I didn't know that what my parents were going through was perfectly normal. It actually is. A couple that was 20-something years old, getting into it and just trying to find their way. You know, sometimes the in-laws are called in when emotions get high. As a little girl, it's like a part of me knew that it really wasn't that bad, but at the same time, it's like it shouldn't be at all. But in reality, it is like that sometimes. Emotions are high. My mind was somewhere else. But anyway, I didn't express that as a child. I was just like, I'm so sorry. I have to break up with you. I can't be with you. Like, I want to give you a chance and know you haven't done anything wrong. Like, please don't make it hard for me because I don't even know how to say it. Like, and then it just made me, like, my sense of worth, it was so minimal. It was so, like, I didn't even feel like I even deserved love. Like, once he finds out all the stuff that's happened to me, like, I feel like a filthy rag. My sense of self was so low. Like, I had enough self-love that, like, I wasn't trying to allow anyone to take advantage of me and touch me. You don't get to just touch me. Like, I was very sexual. Like, I'm the freak of the week with one person. Like, me and this one person. But, like, I'm not having sex with everybody on the block. Oh, speaking of, let me tell you. I have this cousin, right? We were kids. He had, man, has some real gangster friends, man. And because we were like brother and sister, man, we're not like that now. But there was a time when we were. And he would let me tag along with him. Like, there was a time I could only go outside if I was with him. Because, I mean, he could take care of himself. And they thought he would take care of me, right? Well, we were hanging out with this friend. And the guys were like, just indulging, playing dominoes. I don't know if they were, for sure they had alcohol. Because they were older than us. I think he knew that the situation could have gotten really out of hand when one of the OGs said he wanted to take me to the back. And I'm like, now I have a whole boyfriend, the same fella I ended up marrying, right? That goes out to the military, comes back, you know, all that blah. You know that little history if you actually have been watching my story, right? But I go to the back with this dude. Now at this point, again, I have a boyfriend, and we're each other's first everything, and this guy knew it. He knew I was in love with my boyfriend. He knew that. And he was like, yeah, but I see how you looking at me, and I'm looking at you. And I was like, hey, looking at me. I was like, I only got eyes for this one dude that looks like Wanye, right? Because I really wanted to marry Wanye. I was like, I'm gonna meet Wanye, and Wanye's gonna meet me. He's gonna be singing all over the place. You know? He's gonna be singing to me, right? Well, I had his cousin, you know, kind of like, not like his real cousin. In his success, they're like, I think they actually know each other, because I believe that my ex-husband, I think that he had Wanye to sing to his, who is now his wife. It's brilliant. It's brilliant, sister. We're gonna be ancestors together. Don't you ever forget it. Okay, we are ancestors, but anyway, I had that boyfriend. But anyway, so this guy, long story short, like that whole interaction, like I got to the back with this guy, and it's like something in me just knew, like it's like I'm in the bed with a pit bull, or with the shark, or with the tiger. I mean, he was badass. He was nothing to mess with. He was old enough. Anyway, I'm not even going to get into that, because that's in the past. The point is that he could have taken me if he really wanted to. Like, he definitely would have had to fight for it, and I let him know. I was like, please don't. Like, because I would really rather not. Like, I don't want to have to fight you off, because I actually do like you. I don't have anything against you. I was like, but you don't want to do that. Like, God loves me. And I believe that God loves you too. Like, just please don't. And the fact is that if he actually tried it, given what I know now about the difference in the estrogen and testosterone, I would have lost. But anyway, that guy never touched me. He didn't even kiss me. Like, I was spared. But the way that story spins, the way that the story spins is that I did a bunch of stuff that I never even did. Anyway, why was I telling you that? But yeah, it was just like when I said, speaking of when I was younger. Okay. Oh, I should look at the time before I pressed play for it.
Mom, please stop.
Stop what? You're lucky that I gave birth to your ass. Don't tell me not to record.